I genuinely believe that every video game is a masterpiece in its own right, and that there was a caring, loving team that put their heart and soul into creating every single puzzle piece that fit together to make it that game. But every once in a while, we stumble upon a game that strikes us like no other. These are the gems of gaming. Back in high school, I wrote an essay on why video games were art. I felt passionately about showing that video games are more than just silly, nerdy entertainment, and I still feel passionately about that today. In that essay, I used Okami as an example. Okami is paragon of showing that video games are more than just entertainment, but they can also be art. Because every aspect in this game is amazing, to the music, to the art, to the characters. All of these pieces come together to make this a true masterpiece. It's been 14 years since the original release of Okami on PS2, and 8 years since I first played it on the PS3. Even though it didn't get a lot of attention when it first came out, it's been picking up a lot of momentum by getting a remaster on PC. One of the most notable and iconic things about Okami, by far, is the art style. The art direction takes on a style called Sume-e, a Japanese inking style. This style of art is what defines this game and separates it from the rest. This game almost took on a completely different art direction. It was going to be more realistic. The team at Clover Studio worked on Resident Evil, and were impressed at the advancements of graphics and wanted to take advantage of this. But their visions expanded a little beyond the PS2's capabilities, and admittedly, they thought that taking this direction in the game would have been a little bit boring. So, thus, what we got today, Okami, the beautiful gem that we have today, was born. Honestly, if you haven't already checked out this game, just taking a look at it should be enough to convince you to play it. This game is one of my favorite games and also one of my biggest art inspirations. Okami is an action-adventure game where you play as a white wolf sun god, where you use your tail to do some fantastic things. This ability is called the Celestial Brush Technique. Being a sun god, we already know how to create a sun, but we have to go find other gods that know the other brush techniques in order to use them. The great evil Orochi has been re-released and has reigned evil upon Nippon. We must free its people and the land and restore nature back to its natural balance. We take on this task with our tiny little sidekick, Isun, who is a traveling artist and a huge perv. And like in most games with a speechless protagonist, our sidekick does all the talking for us. And also, in true sidekick fashion, is pretty annoying. Even though he can be quite annoying, it's hard not to fall in love with this little guy. He is very important throughout the story, and we don't know what we have until we don't have it anymore. Okami is a very enjoyable game, with loving characters to interact with, vast amounts of environments to explore, and side quests to keep you entertained. This game is also heavily built off of Japanese mythology, and you can find different stories of mythology sprinkled throughout the game. If you haven't looked into this game yet, I highly recommend it. Like I said, it's been re-released on many platforms like the Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PC. Now we'll be talking about the story, which will also include spoilers, so you have been warned. The game starts off with the legend of Shiranu and Nagi coming together to defeat the evil Orochi. Then it switches to 100 years later, present game, showing a shadowy figure re-release Orochi, and plaguing the lands of evil once again. This brings us to the introduction of our character, Okami Amaterasu, or Ami for short. A tree spirit named Sakura awakens us from our slumber to defeat Orochi once again. Right away, we meet our token annoying sidekick, Isun. In the light of his giant perviness, he falls out of Sakuya's kimono. Isun is a traveling artist and provides us with explanations on the celestial brush techniques. He tags along while we figure out how to cut down Kamiki Village, which Sakuya has protected in her peach. This is not an innuendo, though it might be, but it's an actual peach. We travel inside the tree where we get a tutorial on how to play the game, alongside getting our first 2 celestial brush techniques. We cut down the peach, release the village, but something seems off. Despite Isun seeing this village before, it takes him an awful long time to realize that things aren't quite right. The villagers are stone. So, we use our signature power as the sun god to create a sun and awaken the village. Isun is a very important bridge in connecting the celestial beings with humans, which they only see us as a plain white wolf. Our godhood is unseeable to most humans. When we try to leave Kamiki Village, we are blocked by a boulder, which we are told Susanoo, a great swordsman, should be able to clear this easily. This is where we meet the cowardly, lazy swordsman, Susanoo, who is supposed to be our Nagi to our Shishanu. After getting him some sake and helping him prepare, we head to the boulder and secretly help him slice it up and clear the way. Clearing the boulder opens up the Shisano fields, but before we head there, Sakuya approaches us, telling us about the guardian saplings. We must sprout them and bloom them to clear evil from the areas and to restore her powers. This conversation also gives us a glimpse into Ami's and Isun's relationship. Ami, taking a nap during Sakuya's explanation, allowing Isun to do all the talking and listening. When we enter Shisano Fields, we're introduced to cursed zones. If we enter these zones, we get hurt. But sprouting these gardening saplings and blooming them will eradicate these areas, freeing anyone trapped within and allowing us to freely explore the area. While we're exploring these fields, we learn the cherry bomb technique, and also discover the cave in which Orochi is residing in, but it's blocked off. And we just go on a merry little way, hoping that we'll be able to enter later. When we bloom these gardening sapling trees, we head back to Kamiki Village and help Mr. Orange, one of the greatest characters of all time, along with Mrs. Orange, with her kick-ass cooking skills. Once we talk to Mr. Orange, we're able to help him with his sick-ass dance moves, and bloom Sakya's main tree, completely restoring Sakya. We learned the lily pad technique, and we learned that there are more guardian sapling trees that we need to bloom, and cursed zones to eradicate. Our next location is Agata Forest. Once we rid the cursed zone in this area, we meet Waka, a half-baked prophet according to Isun. Isun has an instant dislike towards Waka, but who could blame him? Waka attacks us when we first meet, but after our fight, Waka does give us a prophecy about what will happen in the near future, which is why Isun gives him the name Half-Baked Prophet. This nickname sticks despite every prophecy Waka gives us coming true. After our encounter with Waka, we meet a kid who lost his dog in some ruins, so we help him fish out a key in the lake, and we head off into the ruins without him to go save his dog. The boss in this area is one of the creepiest bosses I have ever encountered in a game. I would never have thought you could make a spider any creepier than it already is, but alas, we have achieved such a thing. After saving the dog, our kid now feels confident enough to go fix the bridge, which is when we encounter Waka's first prophecy, a log ride. Courtesy of Sasano. Once we're done with the thrill of this log ride, we decide to save everyone and, in turn, creating a bridge, allowing us to cross the river freely. Keeping on the topic of creepy, the next area is home to the Cutters. Once we enter the land of the Cutters, the air becomes very eerie, and we meet Mrs. Cutter, who, upon seeing us, chases us and plans to eat us if she catches us. Though if we come back at night, we can drag Mrs. Cutter into the moonlight, which then reveals the Cutter's true self, demons. Once we defeat them, we free a little sparrow and return her to her father at the springs. Our main objective in this area is freeing Kusan Village from an evil aura surrounding the village. In order to do this, we have to find the canine warriors. Most are in Kusa Village, lazing about, refusing to fulfill their duties until they're fed. The other canine warriors outside the village have already found new owners to protect and duties to fulfill. So they give us their orbs and we take it back in order to enter the Gale Shrine. This is where we find the source of evil surrounding Kusa Village, and we learn the Gale Brush technique. We head out of Kusa Village, head back to Agata Forest, and we help fish out a fish that swallowed the moon, giving us the ability to create a moon in the sky. Once we free the moon back into the sky, we head back to Kamiki Village, where the villagers are celebrating the 100th anniversary of Orochi's demise. Little do they know, though, that this night will turn grim fast. Orochi sends down an arrow into the village, choosing a maiden who will be sacrificed to him. Kushi, Susanna's love interest, is chosen. We help her to the moon cave because she is determined to fulfill her duty. But when we arrive there, we meet Waka once again, who is mysteriously able to open the barrier. Once the barrier is open, Kushi runs off and we head off after her. But the stairs to Orochi's lair are broken, so we must jump down and navigate our way through the Imp's lair. Though the Imps will not let us enter, but once we find a mask and use our artistic skills to draw a face on, we are able to blend in and sneak into the Imp's lair. And once we are in, we discover that the Imps kind of suck at their job. We have to pick up the slack and find the rest of the ingredients for Orochi's meal. As we explore the dungeon, it becomes clear that the Imps are terrified of Orochi, and they understand that he doesn't care about them at all, and he would easily kill them. So they try not to step on any toes, which makes us navigating the area a little bit difficult, but we find ways around it. Once we finish Orochi's meal and send it up to him, we have to convince a terrified Imp to take us back up. Now, facing off Orochi, we use the sacrificial sake to knock him out and defeat him. Susanoo last minute comes in and finishes off Orochi, with a little help of course. Though Orochi is dead, evil is defeated. It's time to kick back with some sake, right? Our job is done. No, even after the defeat of Orochi, evil still reigns rampant, and there is still work to be done. With this, we head to the capital, expecting a cheery, lively people, but instead we discover a sickness has spread. Here, we use a lucky mallet, which we use to shrink down to Isun's size. This allows Isun to ride us like a normal person would ride a horse, and we get to see the world through Isun's eyes. We discover that the source of sickness is coming from inside of the Emperor, so we must of course travel inside the Emperor and kill this virus demon inside him. But there's still source and evil reigning over the land. In order to defeat the last bit of evil, we must fight the water dragon. We travel inside the water dragon, and we find fox rods there. A priestess that we were working with was looking for these, so she shows up and takes them from us. We discover that this priestess has been dead this whole entire time, and that Ninetales was posing as a human priestess. Ninetales is a very unique enemy in a way that she can use our celestial canvas to cancel out or create her own celestial brush techniques. Our last destination, Kamui, a snowy place that has people who transform into wolves. Deep within the woods here, we get to find Isun's home and discover why he left. When we use the Lucky Mallet to enter Isun's home, Isun refuses to follow us, leaving us without a voice. But Amy still somehow stays chatty and vibrant, and it also creates some pretty hilarious scenes. We learned that Isun left home due to the pressures of becoming a great artist and celestial envoy after his grandfather, who just happened to be the celestial envoy to Shiranu, our past self. Once we leave Isun's home, we use Isun as a guide to traverse this maze-like forest to find the spirit gate. A little girl has gone missing, and we suspect that she went through the spirit gate. So we head in to go look for her. When we enter, we are slow to realize that we've been sent back in time. Here we get to see the village 100 years ago. They're not so kind to us because they think that we are working alongside Orochi. Here, we also get a battle with Orochi once again. After we defeat Orochi, Shiranu and Nagi come in to finish him off, allowing us to escape with the little girl. Once we go back through the spirit gate, we return the little girl back to her home. But when we arrive here, we discover that the gates have been busted open, and a group of people are trying to close it. But, like a true hero, we just head right in. Through these gates, we fight our last boss, Lechku and Nechku, twin owls. We tackle this fight alongside one of Kimu's residents, Oki, and our past self, Shiranu. This is another example of another character being able to use our celestial canvas. If we keep our celestial canvas up long enough, Shiranu is able to make her own celestial markings. The defeat of these two owls segue us into the final part of the game. The Ark of Yamato emerges from the ice. When we try to board this ark, the game asks, "Do you have the resolve?" This is the point of no return. If you say yes, you can't go back. When we approach the door, Waka appears, planning to board with us. But, unfortunately, Isun is unable to board with us, because he has not completed his duty as a celestial envoy. His time has not come. Despite our grievances with Isun, our departure with our little friend is sad. How are we supposed to continue without our little friend? Well, rest assured, Isun does wonders back on the ground, and is honestly the reason why we're able to pull through in the end. But back on the ark, we have to fight the main evil bosses, including Orochi, putting the Orochi fight counter to 3. After we defeat them, we are introduced to the real evil, Yami. Yami is the one that's been spreading evil across Nippon, and if we can defeat him, we can destroy evil for good. We learned that Waka and Ami are actually really good friends, and that Ami has helped and believed in Waka in her past. The fight against Yami proves trying. Throughout the game, our celestial brush technique has been our strongest tool and does the most damage, but it being our strong point also makes it our weak spot. If we use up all our ink, our celestial powers disappear. This also takes away our ability to use our divine mirror. We can usually prevent having to resort to doggy air kicks if we reserve our ink, but there are a few times the game does tie our hands behind our back and forces us to use doggy kicks. The first time is in Kusa Village, when the evil aura eats away at our celestial powers. The other time is the beginning of the Yami fight, forced to fight the most powerful foe at our weakest. We are eventually able to repossess our celestial powers after doing enough damage. But this fight is proving to be tiring. Just before we think that it's our last straw, the fight is over, we failed. Isun pulls through with the power of his celestial envoy. While we're out here fighting off evil, Isun is down on the ground, spreading word about us, giving us the power of prayer, giving us the strength to finish the fight. Finally, evil is eradicated once and for all. Waka and Annie fly off into the celestial planes, symbolizing our job is done back in Nippon, and the end of Okami. This game is loaded with beautiful scenery, fantastic music, and lovable characters. All the characters have unique personalities, and even the brief encounters with the celestial gods are pretty entertaining and have a lot of personality. Ami herself has a pretty silly personality, and is successfully able to pull off a lot of personality and emotion, while not breaking the illusion of her being a wolf still. With the 13 brush techniques that we need to learn to complete the story, there are also 11 secret brush techniques that aren't necessary for completing the story. But they are, of course, more powerful than the existing version that we already possess, making our life much easier. There is also a dojo that we can learn new techniques and combos from, allowing us to keep our battle style interesting and, of course, dealing more damage. There are a lot of different side activities that we could be doing throughout the game, like restoring polluted areas back to lushful green ones. There are also many collectible chests and hidden clovers to dig up, allowing us to explore this beautiful world even more. And one of my favorite side things in this game is being able to feed the little critters. There is so much to explore in this game, and I have not hit on nearly all of the things that you'll be encountering in this game. Each piece of this game comes together perfectly to create a masterpiece. And it's one of my favorite games, and a worthy gem of gaming. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more content in the future, and please follow me on Twitch at MeloJoe64. I stream every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Pacific time. I stream Morrowind for more Wednesdays. And follow me on other social media at MeloJoe64. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.